Have you ever wondered if the finish line is a lie? That feeling deep down that even if you achieve everything you've ever wanted, the promotion, the relationship, the inner peace, you might just find yourself standing there asking, is this it? Before you listen, I want you to do something. Pop on your headphones, find a quiet corner where you won't be disturbed, and just breathe. Let this conversation become your entire world for a little while, because we are about to explore one of the most radical ideas in human spirituality, the idea that the ultimate goal isn't the prize we've been told it is. This is for anyone who has ever felt that the hunt for happiness is more exhausting than joyful. We're going to unpack a truth so profound, it has the power to rewire how you see success, purpose, and even freedom itself. Prepare to discover why the most enlightened souls would trade what we call liberation for something else entirely, something richer, more dynamic, and infinitely more beautiful. This isn't just a discussion. It's a map to a joy you didn't know you were allowed to ask for.
It's just, you know when you've been chasing something for ages, yeah? And you're knackered, just proper worn out. I had this moment earlier staring at my screen thinking, if I get this project, then what? Another one. Another deadline. It just feels like a treadmill that gets slightly nicer scenery every year, but you're still just running.
I know that feeling all too well, mate. It's the curse of ambition, isn't it? The ghost in the machine. It's exactly why I wanted to talk to you about that text you sent me. It felt like it was speaking directly to that feeling, that what's next anxiety. You've got it there.
Yeah, right here on my phone. It's pretty intense. It starts with this quote from a king, Maharaja Prithu. He's praying and he basically says, "My dear Lord, if after taking liberation I have no chance of hearing the glories of your lordship, and if I have no chance for this honey of transcendental bliss, then I shall never ask for liberation."
Hold on, let's just stop there for a second. Liberation. In every spiritual path I've ever vaguely looked into, that's the end goal, right? Moksha, nirvana, heaven, whatever you want to call it. It's the grand prize. He's saying he'd turn it down?
He's not just turning it down, he's saying it's worthless without this other thing. And it gets even more intense. He says, "I shall simply always pray unto your lordship that you may give me millions of tongues and millions of ears so that I can constantly chant and hear of your transcendental glories."
Blimey, 1,000,000 tongues and 1,000,000 ears. That sounds a bit much. It's so absolute, isn't it? So he's saying the experience of connection, of praise, is more valuable than the state of ultimate freedom from suffering. That just sounds backwards.
It does from our perspective, because we see freedom from things as the goal. Freedom from work, from stress, from London traffic. But he sees freedom for something as the real prize. The ability to love, to connect, to hear and chant about this beauty, that's the point. It's not a means to an end. The hearing and chanting is the end. The honey of transcendental bliss, as he puts it.
The text mentions impersonalists right after. It says they desire to merge into the existence of the Supreme, but without keeping their individuality, they have no chance of hearing and chanting. What's the beef there? What's an impersonalist?
Think of it like this. Impersonalism is like wanting to be a pinch of sugar that dissolves in a massive cup of tea. You become one with the sweetness, part of the whole, but you are gone. You can no longer taste the tea because you are the tea. There's no relationship.
Okay, that makes sense. You cease to exist as an individual observer.
Exactly. But what Prithu Maharaj and these devotees are saying is, I don't want to become the sugar. I want to be the one who gets to drink the tea forever. They want to keep their individuality, their self, precisely so they can experience the joy of a relationship with the Supreme. The text says that unless you're beyond liberation, you can't even relish these glories. It's a paradox, right? You have to already be free to understand what's better than freedom.
It's like you can't appreciate a Michelin star meal until your taste buds have matured beyond a diet of fast food. So who else felt this way? The text is just a massive list of examples, isn't it?
It is, and the characters are staggering. Next up is King Bharata. The text says that he was so attached to this service that he very easily gave up his lordship over the earthly planet and his affection for his children, society, friends, royal opulence, and beautiful wife.
See, now that's where I get a bit stuck. Giving up your kids, your wife, that sounds neglectful, even cruel. It sounds like running away from responsibility.
I get that, but the text frames it as a measure of his attachment. It's not that he hated them, it's that the love he found was so overwhelming, so all-consuming, that even the most powerful human attachments just faded into the background. Imagine you're holding a candle in a dark room. It's your everything. It's precious. Then suddenly the sun rises and floods the room with light. Do you even notice the candle anymore? It's not that you hate the candle, it's just that its light has become insignificant in the face of a greater light. He was offered everything by the goddess of fortune and just wasn't interested. Shukadeva Goswami even praises him, saying, anyone whose heart is attracted by God don't even care for liberation. What to speak of material opulences?
So the argument is that this devotional joy is a bigger pull than power, money, and even family love? That's a huge claim. Who's next on the list?
Vritrasura. The text calls him a demon, and he says to the Lord, by leaving your transcendental service, I may be promoted to the planet called Dhruvaloka, the pole star, or I may gain lordship over all the planetary systems. Nor do I wish the mystic perfections of yoga practice, nor do I aspire to spiritual emancipation. All I wish for is your association and transcendental service eternally.
A demon said that? That's wild. He's literally turning down control of the universe and superpowers. It's like a villain in a Marvel movie being offered the Infinity Gauntlet and saying, no thanks, mate. I'd rather just hang out with Captain America and tell him how great he is.
Exactly. It completely shatters our archetypes. And then Lord Shiva, one of the most powerful beings, confirms this mindset. He tells his wife Sati that these devotees are not afraid of anything. Heaven, liberation, or even the hellish condition of life is all the same to them.
How can heaven and hell be the same? It breaks logic.
Because their reality isn't defined by their external circumstances anymore. Their joy comes from an internal connection. If you have that, you can be happy anywhere. It's like having your favorite music playing directly into your soul through headphones. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in a palace or on a packed, delayed tube train in July. Your internal world is blissful. That's the idea. For them, any position is fine because they've taken shelter of the lotus feet of Narayan. The locations are relevant.
The self-interest bit that comes next from Indra is interesting. He says people engaged in devotional service know what is actually their self-interest. We normally think of self-interest as getting more for ourselves, more money, more status.
But he redefines it completely. He says they're the first-class experts in advancing in life. It's the ultimate life hack, but the hack is total surrender, total service. Prahlad Maharaj, who was born in an atheistic family, says the same. He tells his friends that if you can please Krishna, there is nothing more rare in this world. Any desire can be fulfilled. But then he immediately asks, what is the use of personal gain or even liberation? He's basically saying, if you're already relishing the nectar of the lotus feet, why would you want anything else? You've already won the game.
Okay, I'm starting to see the pattern. It's a recurring theme, repeated by gods, kings, demons, sages. The text is really hammering this point home from every possible angle. What was that bit about the sacrifice with Lord Nrsimha? Indra says something there too.
Right. After Lord Nrsimhadeva saves them from the demon Hiranyakashipu, Indra says, for persons who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of your lordship, all the opulences which were taken away from us are counted as nothing. Devotees don't even care for liberation. What to speak of these material opulences? And then he explains the core philosophy.
The one about the body and the stomach? I remember that analogy.
Yeah, the idea is the hands, the mouth, the legs, all the parts of the body work to get food to the stomach. They don't try and absorb the food themselves. They know if they just deliver it to the stomach, the central point, then all of them will be nourished automatically.
That's a powerful metaphor. So trying to enjoy things for ourselves is like a hand trying to eat a sandwich. It's not designed for that. It's just going to make a mess and get nothing out of it.
Precisely. The idea is that we're all parts of this cosmic body, and our function, our purpose, is to serve the whole, the enjoyer, which is the Supreme Lord. By doing that, we automatically get our own satisfaction. That's the true self-interest Indra was talking about.
And then there's Gajendra the elephant. His prayer is quite touching. My dear Lord, I have no experience of the transcendental bliss derived from your devotional service, so therefore I have asked from you some favor. He's being so...
He is. He's like, look, I don't get it yet. I'm still stuck in asking for stuff. But then he shows he understands the principles, saying that pure devotees are always merged in the ocean of transcendental bliss and don't ask for anything. So he asks for help but acknowledges a higher state. It's so humble.
And the text keeps piling it on. There are 5 types of liberation, and devotees aren't even fussed about them? What are they?
It lists them later, but the Lord of Vaikuntha tells Durvasa Muni here. The 5 are being one with God, living on the same planet, having the same opulences or powers, having a similar body, and having personal association. And he says his pure devotees do not even aspire after these 5 stages.
So wait, even having God's powers or living with him in his personal heaven isn't the main draw?
Not for the devotee described here, because all of those things are still getting something. The focus is still on what you receive. But for the pure devotee, the joy is in the giving, the service itself. It's a complete reversal of the user-provider relationship.
The wives of the Kaliya serpent, the Naga Patnis, say something about dust.
Ah, dear Lord, the dust of your lotus feet is very wonderful. Any person who is fortunate enough to achieve this dust does not care for heavenly planets or even liberation. It's poetic language for profound humility and devotion. Just a speck of that connection is worth more than a universe of power.
There are so many more, it's a bit overwhelming. The personified Vedas, Krishna's words to Uddhava, Lord Shiva talking about Markandeya, all saying the same thing in slightly different ways. This is clearly the central thesis.
Let's talk about the Damodara story from the Padma Purana. That one feels a bit more like a narrative. Ah, yeah, the story of Krishna being tied up by his mom, Jasoda. So, Damodara means one whose abdomen is tied with a rope. And the prayer during the month of Kartika basically says, "You are the giver of all blessings, but I don't ask for liberation or any material facility. I just want to always think about this beautiful form of you as a child."
It's so specific and personal. It's not about some abstract, formless light. It's about a relationship with a specific person, a specific form, a specific memory. And what's the bit about him delivering the 2 trees?
That's the backstory. These 2 demigod sons, Nala-Kuvara and Manigriva, got arrogant because of their dad's wealth. They were mucking about drunk and naked and disrespected the sage Narada Muni. So he cursed them to become trees, but it was a blessing in disguise.
A curse blessing. A classic.
Exactly. Narada told them they become trees in Nanda Maharaja's courtyard, and eventually Krishna would deliver them. So, as Damodara, tied to a grinding mortar, Krishna drags it between the 2 trees and knocks them down, freeing the 2 sons, who are now great devotees. The prayer ends with, "By your merciful pastimes, you may similarly deliver me." It's a prayer to be delivered from pride and arrogance through a personal act of the Lord.
And then you've got Hanuman, the ideal devotee of Lord Ramachandra. The text says Prahlada looked up to him. What was Hanuman's quote?
"My dear Lord, if you like, you can give me salvation, or the privilege of merging into your existence. But I do not wish any of these things. I do not want anything that diminishes my relationship with you as servant to master, even after liberation." That says it all, doesn't it? He's actively refusing anything that could water down the pure, sweet dynamic of their relationship. He wants to be the servant and Rama to be the master forever. That's his heaven.
It's starting to make emotional sense now. It's not about self-denial, it's about choosing a greater joy. Like choosing to be a devoted parent over a carefree, childless life. You lose some freedoms, but you gain a depth of love that is, for many, infinitely more rewarding.
That's a great analogy. Then there's the Atmarama verse, which the text flags as really important. It says, even those who are completely liberated, who are wholly freed from all kinds of material desires, are still irresistibly attracted to hearing about Krishna's pastimes.
And the logic there is, if these things were material, a liberated person wouldn't be interested. The fact they are interested proves that these glories are transcendental on a whole other level.
Got it in one. It's the final piece of evidence. And it's why out of the 5 types of liberation, devotees reject the one called sayuja, merging to become one. The text says the other 4, like living on the same planet, having the same features, etc., aren't against devotional ideals because you still exist as an individual. You can still have a relationship. But sayuja is the end of relationship, so it's the last thing they'd want.
It's all clicking into place. The whole text is one single argument, backed by dozens of witnesses from every corner of the spiritual universe. The point isn't to escape the world. The point isn't even to reach heaven or liberation as a final, static destination. The point is an eternal, dynamic, loving relationship. And that relationship, that service, is the bliss. It's not the ticket to the party, it is the party.
That's it perfectly. And the very end of the text concludes that out of all the devotees, the ones attached to Krishna's original form in Vrindavan as a simple cowherd boy are considered the topmost. Because they're not even attracted to his majestic, opulent forms as a king or as Narayana. They just want the sweet, intimate, personal relationship. They want the friendship, the parental love, the romance. They've chosen intimacy over all.
Wow. So after all that, running on the treadmill, like you said at the beginning, maybe the answer isn't to get off the treadmill. It's to realize you're running in service of something you love and finding the joy in the running itself. To reframe the whole thing, not as a what do I get, but as a what can I give? That feels radically peaceful.
It does, doesn't it? The destination isn't a place, but a way of being. I think I can face my screen tomorrow with that in mind.
And with that, their conversation comes to a gentle close, but the real one is just beginning inside of you. In the beginning, we promised you a new perspective on what it means to be truly fulfilled, a map to a different kind of joy. I hope you feel that shift taking place within you now. Now, as you sat and listened, did a specific person come to mind? A friend? A family member? Someone who you know is feeling that same finish line anxiety? Don't just share this video, send it to them with a personal message. Tell them, I thought of you when I heard this. Be the one who passes on a map to someone you care about. Below, this isn't just a comment section. It's a living archive of our collective journey. Don't just leave a comment. Add your piece of the puzzle. What one thought from this conversation resonated most deeply with you? Your insight could be the one thing someone else needs to read today to make it all click. That little like button isn't a vanity metric for us. It's for you. Clicking it is a quiet, personal acknowledgement to yourself, a signal that says, yes, this matters. I am open to this way of thinking. It's a way of marking this moment of clarity for yourself. Finally, if this conversation felt less like content and more like coming home, consider subscribing. It's not just a click, it's an intentional choice to join a community of seekers, all walking this path together, to keep exploring these profound truths that give life back its meaning. We're glad you're here.
Explore more reflections on love, surrender, and the divine. Watch the next video or subscribe for deeper journeys.
Love is not the end, it's the way.